One of the most exhausting questions is this: is this God or is this just me? Because you don't want to get it wrong. You don't want to move forward thinking it's God and then realize later, it wasn't. So you hesitate, you second guess, you go back and forth, and eventually you just stop trusting what you're sensing altogether. If we haven't met yet, I'm Susan Price Thompson, and I help you see clearly when life isn't cooperating and recognize when you're being led by the Holy Spirit. But what if that question itself, is this God or is this just me, is what's keeping you stuck? Because we've been taught to separate the two. It's like God speaks over here and we exist over here or up there and down here. But, and besides, if it's really God, shouldn't it completely sound different than us? But that's not actually how it works. And if you watched my last video, you already know this. God isn't distant from you. So let's talk about how to recognize the Holy Spirit. God doesn't bypass you to lead you. He works within you through your thoughts, through your awareness. You sense that something's right or it's just not right. And that's why it kind of feels like you. And that's where the confusion starts. But Jesus actually said this would happen. He said he would ask the Father to send us a helper, the Spirit of truth, who would be with us and in us. So yes, he's not you, but he's within you. He's not, so you're basically not trying to figure out, is this God or is this me? You're learning to recognize what it feels like when the Holy Spirit is moving within you. What if the issue isn't that you're not hearing from God, but you don't recognize what he's already saying? Because it rarely comes like you expect it to. It doesn't sound like spiritual things most of the time. It just shows up in ways that you kind of learn to dismiss. For instance, it might look like anxiety, but it's actually discernment trying to get your attention. Or it could feel like hesitation, or maybe fear, but it's not actually fear. It's a check in your spirit. Sometimes it might seem like I'm overthinking, but it's clarity, knocking, trying to shake some sense into you, give you clarity. You felt this, you just didn't recognize it for what it was, so you didn't trust it when it showed up. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. You realize it's been there the whole time. So instead of trying to answer this question, is this God or is this me? Try asking, what is it producing in me? And notice it in three ways. One, what does it feel like inside? Does this feel steady or does it feel tight and urgent? Because the Holy Spirit brings a kind of steadiness about the thing, even when it's leading you into something hard. Fear brings pressure, urgency, constriction, like you're hanging on to see what happens. Number two, what is it inviting me to do? Is this inviting me to trust or pushing me to control everything? The Holy Spirit invites, fear forces. So, three, what happens when I sit with it? Like, what if I don't react right away? Does it become clearer or does it get louder and just more chaotic around me? Because what's from God tends to settle into clarity, and fear turns into chaos. So the question isn't, is this God or me? It's, what's it producing in me? There comes a point also where you stop asking. You need to stop asking and start moving. Not because you have every answer, but because you recognize what's already true. Some things are already true. And the power in this is the simplicity. You cannot stay where you are and go with God. So don't live in fear of missing the right way. Live from the assurance that you're already being led, and go. This isn't about me getting it right. It's about learning to move in the we. And that doesn't mean that every thought you hear is from God. It means you're not as separate from his leading as you've been taught to believe. The Holy Spirit isn't trying to compete with your thoughts. He's working within your awareness, and you're learning how to recognize that. So pay attention to what's happening inside you this week, not by trying to figure it all out, but by noticing it honestly. Because you're not trying to separate yourself from God. You're learning to recognize, integrate how he's already present and leading you. Remember, you're not becoming someone new. You're learning to see who you already are and who you've always been, who you were born to be, not who you're not. And when you see her, you know her. If you need help seeing something clearly, something specific, You can always reach me at susan@icanseeyou.org. Meanwhile, I'll see you next time.